Well, good evening, laddies, lasses, and lassos, and welcome to the click. You smell absolutely astounding today. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. I was thinking about printing like a quote book. It would be pretty beautiful. We have a lot of good quotes on this channel, like trauma is spelled like trauma, and trauma is just spicy nostalgia. And trauma can't be, it's all about trauma, isn't it? Speaking of curing trauma, buy your little chunker boys. Link in the description, available for a very limited time only. Get them now before you traumatize yourself by forgetting it. Speaking of trauma, I wonder how many times I'm going to say trauma in this video. Today, we're going to look at r/TraumatizeThemBack, which is all about traumatizing them back with trauma. Enjoy the trauma. Trauma. My sense of humor is so fucking bad. Why does anyone watch this channel? r/TraumatizeThemBack. My coworker tried to embarrass me in a meeting, so I let the truth do the work. I had a coworker who loved throwing people under the bus in meetings to make himself look good. One day he claimed I missed a deadline in front of everyone and suggested I was unreliable. I did not argue. I just calmly shared my screen and opened the email where he emailed me late with the files, the night before the deadline. The room went silent. Then the manager looked at him and said, "So you're the reason this was late?" He never tried me again. Sometimes the best revenge is receipts. Oh my god, as a YouTuber, I totally relate to this. Like, not to sound like a paranoid petty person or whatever, but sometimes you just know when someone is gonna be a boatload of trouble. We've seen that a couple of times on this channel, I suppose. Drama is a lot of fun, and saving receipts comes in handy surprisingly often. I would say like a solid 50% of the time. It doesn't mean that you need to keep like a little black book on like extortions of people, but it's like, you know, if you had a disagreement with someone and they were definitely in the wrong, but they're also trying to spin it, it's good to just keep the receipts in case you ever have to like prove your side of things, because people do be wild when it comes to lying. Why always lying? r/TraumatizeThemBack. Call the older generation by their full legal name. Cheat code unlocked. My wife's uncle is a piece of work. Mainly, I think he's mad at the world because things did not work out for him. Never married, no kids, didn't adapt after COVID, and has had to move in with his sister, my mother-in-law. She has her grandkids every other Saturday, and he's been gradually ramping up his opinion-giving on parenting and other subjects for the past few months. I let most things slide because it's not my house, and I really don't care. Until Thanksgiving this year. My son wanted soda at lunch. Uncle decided to chime in that he doesn't need soda at lunch. I cracked the soda can within 3 seconds. This man then decided to say, "I said he doesn't need any soda." So I called him by his full government name, Dad Voice. My kids froze. My wife froze. My mother-in-law jumped a bit. He tried to speak and I said, "Nuh-uh, nope, zip it. This is not a conversation, insert full legal name again." He stuttered something about his mom was the last person to ever use his full name. So I replied with, maybe she should have used it more often. We're done. But he was disarmed. He was shaken. He was reminded that he's just a little boy. And that's what we need to do to those folks. They aren't the dad. We are the dad. Oh my god, that is genius. I wonder if this also works for like people making poopy internet posts. I mean, this post is pretty good. But for example, if I were to be like, "Oh, now you better settle down, you/Kickaboo juice." I wonder if it works like that as well. I need to try this next time I do like a confidently incorrect video or something and people are just making stupid tweets. Just call them by their full tag. That is amazing. The server thought that crème brûlée, or as we say in Swedish, crème brûlée, shouldn't be Bernie. So I gave her a menu education. I am 27M, pastry chef at a high-end restaurant in Portland. I do the dessert menu. Been here for 4 years. Went to culinary school in Paris. The whole deal. So we hired the server named Ashley maybe 3 months back. She is early 20s, super bubbly with customers, which is great. But she started doing this thing where she would come back to the kitchen kitchen and tell me how customers wanted their desserts modified. First time, she asked if we could do the chocolate tart without the gold leaf, because a customer thought it was too fancy. And I was like, okay, sure, weird, but whatever, plated it plain. But then it became constant. She would ask if we could make the creme brulee less burny on top. That's literally the entire point of creme brulee. She wanted me to do our Earl Grey panna cotta without the Earl Grey because someone didn't like tea. Just like, make a different dessert at that point. Hey, can we get a chocolate cake? But I don't really like chocolate. Can we get the chocolate cake without the chocolate? Like, what are you gonna get? A bowl of, like, flour and sugar. Bruh. Oh, I guess a bit of butter as well. Flour, sugar, and butter. My favorite dessert. I tried explaining that the menu was designed a certain way. These were my recipes. But she would do this thing where she would be like, but the customer really wants that, with this pouty face. And I didn't want to be the difficult chef stereotype, so I would usually just modify it. It was getting ridiculous though. My sous chef asked why we were basically running a custom dessert operation. I said, I don't know, trying to keep Ashley happy, I guess. Yeah, I mean, at some point it reaches that impasse that maybe it's better to just order something else than modifying something to the point where it's not even the thing it's supposed to be. Like, don't go to a wine bar if you don't like wine, you know? Then last Saturday, we were slammed. Full restaurant, 2-hour waitlist, and Ashley comes back during the dinner rush and says the table 8 wants the deconstructed apple tart. But can we just put it back together because they don't understand why it's all spread out like that? Then just order the constructed apple tart. I was so done, so I just stopped what I was doing and was like, Ashley, why did they order the deconstructed apple tart if they wanted a regular apple tart? And she got all defensive like, they didn't know what deconstructed meant. And I wiped my hands on my apron and walked out to the table 8 myself. My chef de cuisine was like, what are you doing? But I was already going. I got to the table and introduced myself and said I heard there was some confusion about the dessert. They seemed kind of surprised to see me. I explained that deconstructed meant we were serving the components separately, so you could experience each element. But if they preferred a traditional preparation, I could absolutely make them our classic tarte tatin instead. They were actually really cool about it and said, oh, that makes sense, we'll try it as designed. Oh my god, there is not even a problem. There is not even a problem. Ashley, for God's sake, why do you create problems where there are none? She's like making customers difficult. Walk back to the kitchen. Ashley followed me and was like, you made me look bad. I said, no, you were making me remake dishes all night because you weren't explaining the menu properly. That's literally part of your job. She complained to our manager, of course she did, that I went over her head. Manager pulled me aside and I explained the whole 3 months of modifications. Manager was like, wait, you've been doing custom orders every night? When I told him everything, he basically said Ashley needs to actually read the menu descriptions and understand what she's selling before taking orders. They made her do a full menu tasting the next day. She had to try every dessert and learn what everything was. Honestly, for a punishment, that sounds pretty nice, unless you're not really into desserts, but I could totally do for this. Oh no, please, Mr. Restaurant, don't punish me by trying all of the desserts on a Saturday. Oh, woe is me. She has barely talked to me ever since, except for when absolutely necessary. Her punishment was free desserts. She got off so easy, man, and she's still cranky? Oh my god, come on. But like, I spent years developing these recipes. You can't just crowdsource the menu based on whatever random requests come in. Also, maybe don't tell a pastry chef how to make desserts when you thought creme brulee was supposed to be soft on top. This reminds me so much of those like corporate jokes when you have like a client, the person making the sale, the actual development team, and like, you know, these like images with like slings, for example, where it's like what the client requested, how the sales team interpreted it, what the developer actually made, what the client actually needed, you know those kind of things. This reminds me so much of that, but in like a restaurant context. I don't think you can help me, miss. I need to speak to a man in your department. Any woman who has ever worked in a call center has had this customer. The guys at call center know these people exist, but for obvious reasons are never on the receiving end of their BS. There is usually not much a girl can do to deal with them, and usually we don't have the time or inclination to argue with them. Some mean old woman calls in wanting something simple, but she is convinced my tiny lady brain can't handle it. I don't know why, but women seem as likely to pull this crap as men in my experience. This woman asked to speak to one of my male colleagues instead. I mean, it might be some old generational bias, it's like, oh, the way they grew up, it was always the man fixing stuff around the house or whatever, so how could a whammon working in this help industry possibly be of assistance, Might be something like that going on. I remember actually had something similar like this happen when I was in uni. We were like building wooden boxes or something for like sound experiments when we were doing like noise and vibration controlling engineering. And there was this like older man who was like helping supervising the whole thing, and he was really eager to help the girls. But then all of a sudden one girl walked up and me like, give me the saw, and just did it herself. And he like snuck up to me afterwards and he was like whispering to me like, did you see that? A girl was managing the saw, and she knew what she was doing. What the fuck? He was genuinely mind blown. It was kind of sweet. I think he just came from like a very conservative background and grew up in a different place where that was like more of a stereotypical norm, so to say. But it was kind of wholesome how he didn't really resist, so to say. He was just genuinely mind blown and had his whole like world view about it challenged from like a school experiment. It was really sweet. But anyway. Now, normally, this is where you explain politely yet condescendingly that about 70% of your average call center employees are women, and we don't index our phone lines by the contents of the employee's underpants. So while we can transfer them back to the queue to try a different rep, they will have to wait in line again, and may or may not get someone who can sign their name in the snow with a steam of urine. I mean, I'll sign their name in the snow with a nice stream of poop. Just give me a few more coffees and I'll be right out. Most of the time, they reluctantly accept the fact that they have to deal with a female this time. This female didn't, so I sent her back into the queue to try her luck again. Did you get the same woman again? Did you get the same you get the same client again, didn't you? After about 30 minutes later, I get her again. I fucking called it. I called it. I mean, pretty easy to call it, otherwise the story would have been really short. But like, damn, that's funny. Thank you for calling. My name is... I can't say that out loud. How may I help you today? She didn't recognize me at first and angrily gave me her name and complained about her being put on hold by the last woman. I recognized her name and shitty demeanor immediately. This is where you use the full name trick. The full name boomer trick like in the last post. Oh my god, yes, please do. So in my best, birchy polite customer service voice, I said...
Oh yes, Miss Popo, I believe I was the one who spoke to you earlier. I am so sorry you weren't able to be connected to someone more to your liking, but I'll do my best to help you.
At this point, she lets out a disgruntled sigh and demands to speak to a man. Now! It is at this point I should mention I am a transgender woman. My phone voice is impeccably femme, thanks to years of phone practice, but I can still drop into my old gravelly baritone pretty easily. In fact, I do the voice change up mid-sentence all the time when I'm telling jokes or stories with my friends, cause it's funny. So without missing a beat, I say, "Thank you for calling. My name is this. How may I help you today?" She paused for a moment, befuddled.
You're the same person!
She exclaims with the same accusatory tone that J. Jonah Jameson would use if he figured out Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Yes, but you wanted to talk to a man. You can hear the gears in her brain grinding to a halt for a moment, then angrily,
What? Are you some sort of T-word?
To which I reply, cheerfully, like she just noticed my new haircut. Why, yes. How did you know? To that, she just yelled, "Oh, freak you, F-slur," and hung up. Ah, bruh. And the absolutely funniest thing in this instance, she was acting like a massive Karen multiple times over, and the main victim for it is going to be herself. She has already wasted like a good couple of hours of her day trying to get through to this call center service, and just due to her own behavior, she's unable to receive any help. And it's gonna keep going like this until she maybe starts behaving better or is connected to the man that she so craves to solve her issues. Man, that is so funny. That's like instant karma, if I've ever seen it. If you ever worked in customer support, let me know like your unhinged client stories. I would love to read them in the comments because I know there is a lot out there. It is a goldmine, if the mine was just filled with poop. Call me a sloot for being R-worded. everyone will find out who the actual sleuth is. So I, 15F, am in my sophomore year of high school, and there was this girl, also 15F, who we will call CF, which will make sense later. CF and I used to be friends in 7th grade until she found out I had seizures and started bullying me for them. That's the sign of true friendship. Wow. It was annoying and definitely stung, but it was tolerable. That was until 8th grade year. CF overheard me tell one of my friends that I had been R-worded by a boy in the year above me who was in high school. We had no evidence to prosecute him, so nothing could be done. CF then decided to make me a W-word. So what does she do? Tell the entire school that I'm a W-word, that I lost my V-card at 13, that I wanted this to happen, and cyberbully me online. Man, she sounds like a keeper friend. I hope that some karma comes around, because goddamn. In 8th grade, I was shy and timid, so I never spoke up about her harassment. Later in the year, I changed to a different middle school for other reasons, so I was free of CF for a while. That did not last forever though, as we go to the same high school. Freshman year, I had my gym class with her, and we stayed out of each other's way. But that was until she started talking poo again. Because apparently making school hell for me in middle school wasn't enough. She wanted to do it in high school now too. Luckily, since middle school, I had produced a shiny new backbone due to other crap I dealt with. So when she started telling everyone how much of a W-word I was again, I did not stay silent. I didn't necessarily traumatize her back at that time. I just said to anyone that asked that I definitely was not asking for it, and most people understood. Everything came to a head though one day, somewhere in May of this year. Our PE teacher had left the room for a moment, and CF begins talking in front of the entire class.
So, OP's name had other guys do this to her?
Specifically with finger air quotes.
You recently, or are you still denying how much you must have enjoyed it?
Oh my god, this person is so unlikable. Now here's the thing about CF. She openly dated her second cousin in middle school, full well knowing that they were cousins. So, throwing stones in glass houses and all that kind of jazz. Oh my god. As much as this grosses me out, I had never said anything about it as it's her life. Not this time. So I look at her and respond with,
like how you enjoyed screwing your cousin back in middle school?
She went silent, and since everyone in the class was listening, I figured I'd be polite and explain it for them.
What? You don't remember dating your second cousin?
CF starts stammering. I never did that, I respond.
Oh, are you sure? You cousin frecker? How am I the W word here when you're trying to make your family tree look like a ladder?
She starts crying. In front of everyone, which in high school is basically an admission of guilt. Of course, again, with this being high school, word of this spread quickly, and CF was mortified. Now she avoids me like the plague and stays as far away from me as possible. 2 months into sophomore year, and there has not been a single problem. Sometimes you gotta hit them back with the same BS they pull. Like, especially when they don't let up for so long. Like, I understand they're young and young people do stupid things, but like at 15 you should definitely have enough common decency and empathy to like know that this is definitely wrong. Bullying isn't justifiable. And when you've been going at this for 2 years and get clapped back by the same thing, that's pretty well deserved, honestly. Maybe it's a sweet little piece of trauma now, so you know not to treat people like absolute stinky poo in the future. The neighbor who thought I was an easy target. I just moved into a new apartment, and from day one of my neighbors decided I was too quiet and easy to push around. She would blast music late at night, leave trash in the hallway, and complain to the building manager about things I haven't even done. At first, I tried to ignore it, but it got ridiculous when she started knocking on my door unannounced to check if I was being too loud, even though I barely had anyone over. So I decided to have a little fun. I bought a set of tiny wireless speakers and hid them in the walls near her apartment. Then I started playing the weirdest, most random sounds at random times. Duck quacks, alien noises, someone chanting, "I am a pickle." All super faint so she would hear it but couldn't tell where it was coming from. She completely freaked out, asked neighbors if they heard it, paced around her apartment, even bought sound meters trying to prove I was the culprit. Every time she thought she had caught me, the sounds would stop. Within a week, she gave up on bothering me. She even moved out a month later, and I never had another problem. Either she knew that you were smarter than her and just gave up, or she like legit thought the house was haunted. I mean, in either case, problem solved. Honestly, it felt amazing to turn the tables without ever confronting her directly. Sometimes the best revenge is just using your brain and letting her dig her own hole. What a weird neighbor, man. Like, in my experience, good neighborism is usually something that just brings positive karma eventually. Because at some point, you're gonna get a package when you're not at home, for example. And, maybe your neighbor is kind enough to bring it in for you. Or vice versa. Or something happens. Or, oh, can you check on my cat? Or like, whatever. Like, neighbor karma is a really nice, useful thing to just have a two-way street with. It really makes life easier, and of course it should be kept within reasonable boundaries and all that kind of stuff. But like, for small things, or just checking in on stuff, or whatever, or just having a beer with someone if you like hanging out with your neighbors. So, I don't know, man, this kind of stuff just is so weird to me. Like, these sort of people are so eager to just build negative social karma for themselves for no reason. Like, what does this lady think is gonna happen when it's like, oh, she got a package and she wasn't home? Is the neighbor she's been like low-key harassing gonna bring it in from the rain for her? They're probably just gonna ignore it, pretend they never saw it, It really comes back to bite you, this kind of stuff, in multiple ways. My kid won't stop saying, 6-7. So we only listened to Friday by Rebecca Black this morning. Out here fighting fire with fire. Oh yes indeed, toss those 15-year-old posts on them. That'll teach them. You can also spam the E meme, for example. Do not bring a PP pic to an infected horse PP fight. That's a certain, like, mental image that I never thought I would have, but here we are. Hey, can you do me a favor?
What is it?
Can you help me rate it? I feel so insecure about its size. PP pic! I don't think anyone is actually insecure about their privates send pictures of them to other people. The behavior doesn't really match the described emotions.
Only if you can rate mine back. Hard to get a pic at this angle, lol. Horse penar! Damn hooves can't operate modern cameras.
I'm being serious. I really feel insecure. That's why I asked you.
I'm nervous too. I just had treatment for an infection, but it's better now. This is what it used to look like.
Horrifically deceased horse penar.
Would you still nibble the crusty pieces off for me?
Delicious love.
No response? P-word?
Oh, in the comments under this, people recommending a subreddit that's called r/praying mantis. The hunted becomes the hunter. Or is it the other way around? This is the place to share your counter-creeping experiences. I'm low-key interested in doing a video on the subreddit. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on r/praying mantis where you, like, horrifically traumatize people that are creeping on you on the internet. I think that is really funny. My mother would shame me for having stomach aches until I shit myself in public, the ultimate establishment of dominance. I kept getting comments on my stories of people thinking I'm a bot. I verified with mods that I'm a real person, and I am. Y'all need to chill. Anyways, on to the trauma. Oh yes indeed, CapChat 2.0 baby. Can you shit yourself to prove that you're a real human? Alright, there we go, on to the story. I pooped in one of the dioramas in an appliance store. My entire life, my digestive issues were because
you just don't drink enough water,
or
you're dramatic and acting,
when I would be covered in sweat, guts knotted up, and dizzy from the agony. I was later diagnosed with IBS-M. So as a kid, full of shame, I tried to keep my pain hidden. Messing with your pants as a kid was peak humiliation. And in my day, we got spankings. We were walking around looking at dishwasher and clothes dryers. The signature warehouse smell made me nauseous. The bubble guts started. I had the tingles and sweats before we even left the house, but was too young to ask to be left home alone. I, even as a kid, gave myself the silent pep talk all people with tummy tantrums do. Not here. Why now? I'm okay. This doesn't hurt. I'm okay. I won't poop myself. Just hold it a few more minutes. I won't poop myself. But we all know that this was all a lie. I was totally going to poop myself if I did not act fast. But why didn't you ask for the bathroom, OP? Because I was a literal child and was tired of being a burden for taking so long to finish a constant non-stop pooping marathon where my ass is an open portal to fiery hell every time we went somewhere. My mother and sister would act so aggressive and aggravated because I would sit in a stall, my insides feeling like they would turn themselves inside out, and I had to listen to put-downs, be humiliated about how it smelled, and just made me feel like I was such a problem because I had a medical condition that my mother never took me to get checked out. Anyway, also, this kind of stuff I have never understood. It's the same with people that are like way too rushed to like knock on bathroom doors and that kind of stuff. It's like, do you think disturbing the person in the stall is gonna make it go faster? It's probably the opposite. you know? My sister and I decided to play in some of the dioramas until suddenly it became a diarrhea. To hide my bubbly guts of doom, I suggested playing hide and seek with my older sister and ran as far away from everyone as I could. I crawled into a cabinet and promptly took a massive fiery liquid shit underneath this sink cabinet. It was so forceful, I became increasingly anxious it would pool around me. I used my Tuesday underpants to wipe myself and then ran out, leaving my sin to be discovered by someone else. Oh my fucking god, the poor store workers, man. Can you imagine closing for the day and you faintly smell something and you start tracking it until you find this locker and open it, and oh my god, it's just an avalanche of kid diarrhea. Oh. The smell was wretched, but luckily did not follow me. I made my way through the maze of furniture. A young couple looking at a wooden kitchen set. Images flashed before my eyes of them walking a little further and discovering my poo-poo masterpiece. I suddenly became afraid they would call the police and arrest me. No, I don't know why I thought that, but my kid brain told me it was certain to happen. You pooped yourself as a child. Straight to jail! People don't poop in public, so that means it has to be illegal. I was about to cry from fear, so I hid behind a long row of clothes dryers, pretending to have been hiding in the same spot the entire time, far away from the poo closet. Soon my ma came to scold my sister and I for playing in the appliances. When we got home again, my mother noticed I was not wearing underpants. Again. It was an ongoing battle where my ma just thought I didn't wear them, when in reality I was regularly pooping in places and leaving them there. I did wear them, I whined in between tears. My mother continued on her string of complaining and dismissive words. I had to tell her. I pooped myself at your ABC warehouse, I mumbled. My mother stopped. When? When we were playing hide and seek. My mother's face dropped. You could almost see the dots connecting behind her eyes. My tummy hurts all the time and you yell at me when I need to go to the bathroom, I blurted out. So I had to poop and left my underpants there. The horror, the disgust, the unbridled fear in my mother's expression both terrified me and somehow relieved me as I was being heard that I had a problem. It took me pooping in a cabinet for it to be taken seriously. Sometime later, my mother took me to the pediatrician. I was not, in fact, able to control it. I was given a white pill I had to take once a day, and while it helped, I still struggled with IBSM as an adult. Luckily, I was never arrested for pooping there. What happened to my poop cabinet remains a mystery. Ooh, maybe if the cabinet was airtight enough, someone didn't notice the stench until they brought it home and found that fossilized poop spray inside of it. Beautiful, isn't it? This is what archaeologists will find in 1,000 years. Random boomer regretted asking us about having kids. Went to a wedding this weekend, and while meeting some of the other guests, one of them, older lady who knew my wife when she was a kid but total stranger to me, gave us the "So, when are you two having kids?" speech. Before I could stop myself, I blurted out, rather loudly, "Strange that you're so interested in our adult life," which was overheard by a fair few people. Cue her red-faced embarrassment. I'll bet she won't be asking any more strangers about their plans for kids. Oh, there's this webcomic I saw on my timeline a while ago. I can't remember the name of it, but it was something people are sitting around the table, and then a straight couple is like, "So we're trying for babies," and then the gay couple across the table is like, "Yeah, we're also fucking raw dogging it every night." It's like, how does it feel? I can kind of understand both perspectives. I have definitely had those kind of conversations with both friends and family and stuff. It's like, "Oh yeah, you're planning a family, yada yada, blah blah blah." But it can also be seen as something very invasive and weird, especially if you go up to strangers and be like, "Oh yeah, have you started doing it without protection yet? When are the kids gonna come?" It's a little bit of how you ask it, when you ask it, and who you're asking. Context do be a thing. Penar pics. Before I was married, men would send me unsolicited penar pics. What made it weirder was that a lot of times I knew them for all of 5 minutes. I got annoyed, so how I dealt with it was to look for pictures of penars and send them penars back. They would get so angry and ask why I did that, and I would respond, "Now you know how I feel. 10 out of 10, would recommend." Ooh, maybe you can even automate this with a bot or something. This should be a business model for Tinder. If Tinder wants ladies to pay for Tinder Gold, this would be what it is. It's just an AI bot. The one good use for AI. No, there are some good uses for AI, but this would be one of them that automatically detects penar pics and then just sends one back and then blocks the person. That would be something worth paying for. I should patent this before the AI bros pick it up. Hell yeah. Sister claimed she was the victim. Didn't know coworker was my friend. My sister is very mentally unstable. Lies constantly, oftentimes for no reason whatsoever. She had multiple jobs in fast food because she is a failure to launch, and by my own hard work and resilience have an okay life. Fast food jobs don't make you a loser, but she believes it does because of her grandiosity. Legit, she would say things like,
I should be the artistic one. Show me how to draw.
When I got braces as an adult, because my career allowed me to afford it at the time, she said,
Well, I would be prettier if I had them. You have straight teeth now. Mine aren't even that bad. I should have gotten them.
When I had my son, somehow I had a snowy white, red-headed baby. My sister is a redhead with a different dad. She says,
He should have been my son.
Your sister is unhinged. Your sister is absolutely unhinged. Who the says that? This was before my no contact and after this whole situation happened, if that makes sense. Yeah, she is terrifying and gross. At her job, she told coworkers stories about how I, the younger sister, was a bully and spoiled, was always getting her in trouble. Typical pity-me stories when in reality she was the golden child. She was lying for the spotlight, I guess. In reality, my siblings bought her first car. Her cell phones were bought. She was put on siblings' family plans, but I wasn't. It is truly comical how singled out I was by my family. She told her coworkers how she would have bruises and wouldn't go to school some days because of how her mother and I beat her. I was the beaten one. When my sister edged into the territory of how I lied about being molested, a coworker stopped her. That was my best friend at the time. We were college besties and talked every day. She knew my sister was my sister because my BFF had told me someone by the same last name as me started working there. I had confirmed that we were related and to not talk about me because I wanted my privacy. I had been living on my own with my degree and career in my field, and I didn't want my sister asking my bestie about me. With a grin, she says,
Oh wait, that's insane. You're Blorp's sister, right? Let me call her.
My BFF called me on her cell on shift. I can't remember what I was doing, but I picked up, because no one talks on the phone and I feared someone had died or my BFF was in jail somehow. She tell me what's going on and I am speechless. Well, that's interesting. Age, I have proof. Let me send you a link. What my dearest big sister didn't know is that I am also crazy. When I was in college, I still lived at home. When I was in college, I had a smartphone. In college, I started taking videos out of fear. No, I never called the cops on my mother and sister. I don't know why. I thought if I died, the police would find my phone so my sister and mother wouldn't get away with it, I guess. I had a Google Drive. I had photos. I had videos of them screaming at me. Photos of my stuff destroyed. Not even Bestie knew I had this. She just knew I wasn't a liar and wanted to put my sister on the spot. You see what I mean? This is what I mean about receipts. Like sometimes you can feel like a weird, petty, paranoid person, but sometimes you just know when someone is trouble. Well, trouble is a very kind word for these kind of people. They just sound like straight up violent abusers who probably should have gone to jail. But even in lighter situations than this, keeping receipts when you know that someone is a notorious liar or you can just sense that they're trouble is a pretty smart thing to do. It doesn't mean that you have to like keep it on hand to like, haha, I have these threats against this person, blah, 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 as some other weird people tend to do. But it's more like self-defense, you know, when you know that you haven't done anything wrong, it's sometimes good to just like have the means to prove at least some of that. Insane part is that she didn't quit out of embarrassment. She stayed at that job until she was caught stealing from the register and offering a 16-year-old employee liquor while my sister was nearly 30. Everyone hated her. I wonder why. I was told that sister tried saying, I did that to myself, etc. She tried applying to other fast food jobs but couldn't get hired. I like speculating that people were connected through friendship somehow, and that this incident had something to do with it. I mean, probably. References are a thing at workplaces. Sometimes people call around to references just to check someone isn't a massive walking red flag, you know? And that might have happened in this instance as well, even if it's like only fast food. Most people don't want to hire someone like this. As of 2025, my sister is 38, lives at home, not by choice, is bankrupt and can't have a bank account because of the debt she accumulated from being involuntarily committed for physically assaulting a coworker. Holy crap, man. I mean, at least life caught up with her, I suppose. Jesus Christ. That compulsive lying bit her in the butt in a matter of minutes and likely sabotaged her life. I am happily married, relationship of 11 years, kids, house, the picket fence, and cats. I always wanted to have a cat. God is good, good karma is sweet, the traumatized has traumatized the traumatizer. Oh, yes indeed. I love this. We're adding traumatized to the word count. This is beautiful. Honestly, that's the best revenge, knowing that the shitty person in question did not succeed in their grandiose plans of like ruining stuff for others, had their own life ruined, and you are living happily. That is the best revenge, and also feels really good for yourself. Waitress thought I was transgender, so we flashed them. Bear with me, no, this isn't homophobic on my end. About 12 years ago, it was 2 a.m., and my friend group and I went to Denny's, a shitty restaurant always open until like 3 a.m., blazed out of our minds. In the Midwest, this is what Denny's is for. You get smashed, obliterated, tripping balls. And what do you do because you can't go home? You go to heckin' Denny's and eat shitty eggs and hash browns, pancakes and mozzarella sticks until you sober up. Ooh, I mean, this used to be McDonald's for us when I was like 19 years old. The like solid bag of 6 McDonald's cheeseburgers at 3 a.m. when you were like wasted. Oh my god, the beautiful memories, man. The memories. Or maybe the lack of memories depending on the evening. Anyway, I am a tall bean. I'm a skinny bean. I am completely flat-chested. Even when I had my fat face, I was built like a fridge. During this time though, I was built like a poker table. My hair was short, given I had a mohawk, and we were really, really drunk from a concert we had been at. 5-finger death punch. Hey, hell yeah. For you degenerates out there. We sit down. Naturally, because I am a lady, I was wearing lipstick, eyeliner smudged to hell from sweat, and a fat lip. Lady comes over to take our order. Everyone takes their turns and I ask for deep-fried mushrooms and mozzarella sticks. She eyes me and says, "No problem, sir." I don't correct her because frankly I was too smashed to notice. My one friend did, the lipstick lesbian, and she gave the fry squint and brought it up in a whisper. "The hell is her problem?" she asks, full bombastic side-eye, lip curled back, eyes wide open, one eyelash falling off. At the corner. She works at Denny's, catering to old men and drunk 20-somethings, homie said, slurring and comically struggling to put the straw in his mouth so he could drink the ice water. I'll never forget how fucking dumb this dude is, that I love him. We like homie, okay? He just thinks he's super clever when you wonder if his mom smoked cigarettes while pregnant. I'm just lusting after my plates of vegetables cooked in fat and breaded string cheese. Lipstick starts on about how the waitress called me sir. I don't give a heck because I already know I am fairly androgynous. But like, hot androgynous. Don't be a hater, you know you've looked at someone who looks good but you can't tell what's in their pants. And if you find out, you wonder how gay or straight you are before proceeding. Maybe a bit of both? Anyway, lady comes back, everyone getting their poo. Mine hasn't come out. I am so hungry I could cry. I want those greasy little biscuits so bad. I am stoned and grumpy because I am stoned and trashed and starving. Everyone eats. Homie and Doc Martin Mud Laces make yummy humming sounds and I proceed to stare like an orphan on Thanksgiving. Lady comes back in lipstick, ask about my food, my frown and puppy dog ice water because I was so timid at that age and thank God I had lipstick to run her mouth on my behalf. Lady stares at me. I'll ask about health order. I'm a lady though. Lady hums. The vibes get weird. Okay, I have a lady voice. Okay, doesn't that typically give people away, right? And guess not. No food. 20 minutes later, no food. I grab my fist of mud, laces, fries, and shamelessly shove them in my face. Ketchup drizzled over them. Off topic, I hate that. Normal people dip their fries. You can't trust people to drizzle ketchup and eat fries with a fork. Insanity. Lady asks if you want her checks. Nah, I want my food though. I whimper. Very overdramatic. Lady fakes forgetting and walks away. I walk up to the register to ask one about my food. Like looking for another waitress. Were you also smashed when writing this? I mean, I'm not complaining. It's pretty funny, but... Anyway, I hear in back, some skinny dude wants his food. I have no idea what to do. What is the social decorum for eavesdropping on a homophobic piece of poo? My Asperger ass didn't know Asperger. I guess we're making burgers from trees now. Man comes out, sees me standing there in lipstick, leather jacket, skinny jeans, and a band t-shirt. I'm not a dude, is the only thing I can say. The dude, manager, employee, I don't know, looks at me and says, I'm so sorry, and walks away. I hear words but don't know what they are. I do hear this lady say,
I don't give a poo about some transgender. You take it out to them then.
oh lord, this is so awkward. I just want to eat, dude. I want to eat and walk along the road, throw rocks on the train tracks, and stumble home to my dad's house and hope he doesn't give me the lecture about women drinking because culture, even though I'm 22 at the time. There are louder words. There is noise. This lady comes out and I'm afraid of loud noises. She pulls off her name tag and walks out the counter. Maybe she's leaving or walking out. Did she get fired over this? That is so funny. Lipstick comes up. Girl is ready for a shouting match. I have no inner sassy black woman because I am not a black woman. Not to worry, lipstick is black enough for the both of us. You definitely wrote this while also smashed in remembrance of this night, right? That has to be it. That has to be it. Lipstick is a lesbian in a black woman's world. Lipstick is also Mexican. Lipstick is fully aware she is the angry stereotype. Lipstick does not care. Lipstick is trashed. Lipstick is gay. Lipstick spent 3 hours screaming and thrashing. I am more so Lipstick's golden retriever friend. Lipstick starts shouting. I smell food. I just want food. I don't hear anything but the ringing in my ears and wondering how far away McDonald's is from our location. Oh, Walgreens was 24 hours and they had chips. I like chips and those skinny long flaky cookies with chocolate in the middle that rich people eat. Is this what it's like to smoke things when you have ADHD? I think that's what's going on here. I look up and Lipstick says something about how I can't help that the Lord didn't give me tits, and that she turns me around and slaps my bum, telling me no white man hasn't butt like that, and I am both confused and silently enjoying having a hot last slap my butt. A hot last. Like a hot lass, maybe? Anyway, this waitress stops her own yelling, likely in shock. I wouldn't eat your private parts if it was the only thing on the menu. What the heck, Lipstick? Actually, hell yeah, Lipstick. I start giggling and rub my face to make sure both my eyes were open. Oh, that's right. Lipstick snorted a line of coke. Oh, shite. I was so happy because I ate mushrooms when we left the concert. Oh no, I ate mushrooms after we left the venue. Oh my god, that was a bad idea. I lift up my shirt. I have a sports bra. I'm a lady. And I start laughing. Lipstick has been enabled. Lipstick flashes the waitress and runs out the door. Mud, laces, and homie bolt out the door. I'm standing there. This lady's mouth is so wide, so full of horror. I'm wondering why her tongue is so big. Oh, hell, I'm so done with this place. She obviously wasn't talking to me, but I say, okay, bye, and walk out. I mean, I didn't have a bill to pay. I could just leave. I walk outside. Where the heck did everyone go? I turn the corner. There's 4 cars in the parking lot. None are ours. One has a window sticker of a cat. Lipstick found it. Lipstick, Mud, Laces, and Homie are peeing on the car. Who are these people and why am I here? The trees became so loud and I feel the cold ground through my shoes. I shout, Walgreens! And run towards the trees into the direction of the nearby CVS. Time passes, but I came back to earth in the CVS scared to touch the chip bag. A cashier knows I'm high probably, and friends come through the door laughing. Where were you? Mud Laces ask me. Cookies, I reply, hugging a bag of Doritos. I go to the register. Life is beautiful. The cops are probably being called. The scanner beeps. Enter your rewards number, the cashier says. I wondered if my hand could face to the counter if I touched it hard enough. We showed Denny's our boobies, I replied, poking the buttons. So square, so button. The cashier sighs. Yeah, I cannot imagine working as a cashier at 3 a.m. and these are your customers. Friends come up. They have drinks. I leave with no cookies. Thanks for reading. When you're telling us about a story being high, you don't have to get high to retell it. This was extremely amusing. You certainly got banned from that Denny's, but f*** 'em anyway. Our local Denny's is a Sonic now. I trust that OP has remained some level of high this entire 12 years. Well, that's like your opinion, man. Oh my god, what an absolute disaster. I feel like I got low-key traumatized from reading this, but like in a good way. Is good trauma a thing? Spicy nostalgia? I got spicy nostalgia by this post. Bathroom police. I was telling my mom my 5 minutes of fame on Reddit, and she told me my first attack she witnessed I was too young to remember. Some background info. Number 1, public toilets in China used to have someone in front charging a few cents for each person using. Number 2, I was born and raised in a hot and humid part of China, so my parents had my hair cut extremely short for convenience. Number 3, though I lived in the city, I visit my relatives in a rural village every weekend. Nudity among children is common there, since it's hot. Number 4, I have mild autism, and I I haven't learned social practices at age 5. My dad took the family out for patio dinner with friends, and I had to use the public washrooms across the road. Apparently, I told mom about my urgent need and ran away without waiting for an answer, so she had to run behind me with money. The attendant woman for the public toilet yanked me back from running to the women's bathroom because I looked like a boy. By the time my mom got there, she saw me screamed, "I'm a girl!" while dropping my pants. The poor woman let go in a stunned silence as I waddled my way to the toilet. My mom said she almost peed herself laughing. Okay, so like traumatizing people by flashing is either something you do at 3 a.m. at a Denny's towards transphobic workers when you're high, or when you're a toddler. I think it's roughly the same state of mind. A betrayer of the straits. Trademark. When I did my driving license exam, I was assigned a very mean and feared examiner. She was known for rejecting almost everyone. The only reason some people passed was because there was a legal quote to meet most likely. So I was scared to death. I also recently realized I was not straight, but did not say that to anyone aside my mother yet. I was confused because my mom didn't believe in bisexuality. She was okay with me liking both boys and girls, but not with the label. What the frick? I'm fine with it, but I don't believe it's real. I mean, she's halfway there, I guess. Anyways, during the examination drive, the examiner started a homophobic rant. She kept saying her boss should be ashamed of having a gay son, and other stuff like that. I was livid, but kept my mouth shut because I wanted to pass. My teacher, who sat beside me in the car, was visibly embarrassed. Then, I passed. I was so happy. My teacher and I were celebrating the impossible task succeeded, and I casually dropped, "You know I'm bisexual, by the way." And then I turned my head. The examiner was there. I will never forget that look of betrayal. Lemao serves her well. That is so fucking funny. Sadly, the guy after me was Chinese, and COVID was just starting to hit. He did not pass. Knowing the woman, it had nothing to do with his driving skills. That is so funny. I do love that they already stamped you as passed, and then they found out because they can't do anything about it. That is amazing. Hell yes. Well, laddies, lasses, and lasses, I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed having you here. Remember to check out the chunkers, link in the description, before they're gone forever. And aside from that, have an amazing day, night time, wherever time is you live, and I will see you in the very next video. Take care. Mwah.